Hi, everyone. I'm Angela, and this is Silvia. Hi, Silvia.
Hi, Angela.
And this video is to introduce about the 74,000 program that's currently running in India and all over the world, streaming from India all over the world. And we're going to share about it today and the experience of doing it and why it's important for our planet at the moment, or maybe more for humanity, or for the planet and humanity. And the 74,000 program is part of the Golden Age movement, which is connected to what was previously Oneness University. And Ekam, Silvia works with Ekam as well. So Silvia, do you want to explain why we're doing the video as well? So because some of the people watching it might be more connected to you or what you're sharing.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we have our friend on our friend list that had met us through Oneness University. Some are still active, some are maybe haven't been as active. And it would be a great reminder that right now where we're at is I know when I first met Angela at that time in 2013. I met her a little before, but we went into Oneness University around the same time. It was about awakening. So you hear about that a lot. Awakening is infinite. So it's not like now we're awake and that's it. It's just constant. But I remember the message was we need enough amount of people to have a awakening, just so then from us, it's not like just a few people, just a certain amount, and then it's just pop, like popcorn, and then become mainstream. So now, for those especially who have heard of Oneness University, now two names, same cause, but two different style. What's yours? Golden
Age movement.
And that's with Sri Amma Bhagavan, and then there's Ekam, which is from Sri Krishnaji and Sri Preethaji. Those are Sri Amma Bhagavan's son and daughter-in-law. So it's same kind of thing, but different style. Ekam tend to be a little more secular, and Golden tend to be more mystical. But I experience mystical in the secular, depending on every person different. So now the focus has been, which Angela will go into, the 11th hour, is before with awakening. Now we have a lot of people you hear in the mainstream, awakening, woke, this and that, you know. Now it's about enlightenment. But there's the idea that enlightenment is just for the few. Well, in this case, it's 74,000. Again, you need a certain amount of people, 74,000, not just a special, 74,000, but it does require commitment. For me personally, in Ekam, it's only once a week. So it's something doable, and Angela explained with her, but it's a commitment for having a certain amount of, it's a journey, first of all, not a destination. Certain amount of energy, and then what happened, everybody else, the goal is in the bigger picture is have humanity and Earth be of enlightenment. But right now we need the 74,000. So Angela explained the 11th hour, why it's important as far as like, if anybody interested, it doesn't even have to be that you know about Oneness University. If you're a spiritual person or just interested, that's the gift, is that if you're dedicated to, you're actually, you become a little bit more less of suffering, because they teach you certain tools, and they need a certain amount of, they need commitment, right? Is that what it is, Angela? What do you think?
Yes, commitment based on a deep, deep desire, not just to end your own suffering, but to help the species, because our species, humanity, is at a crisis point. That's why we're calling this the 11th hour. This is a call out to anyone who's just interested in helping humanity and wants to deeply commit to that process, because in the 74,000, you get to experience the bigger picture of humanity. It's not just about ending suffering. It's that's the reason why you might be going into it. But it's actually because humanity, if you've been watching the news recently, or you might be living through war, humanity is at a tipping point where we could annihilate ourselves. And the 74,000 is a balance to that energy. So working with Silvia's stream through the Ekam University and Sri Krishnaji and Sri Prithiji, or working through the Golden Age, we're collectively creating a group of people. The 74,000 is not the only group. There's actually millions who work with Sri Bhagavan and Sri Prithiji and Sri Krishnaji. There's millions connected to them.
But it's just that's what they need at least. They need at least 74,000 soon, within a year or two, to commit. And then it's going to ripple effect.
Yeah. And that 74,000 are people particularly, perhaps you've been thinking about the state of the world and what's going on. And you might have conspiracy theories. Like everybody's got a conspiracy theory now, right? That's very normal. That's completely normal. But then you've got this other part of you internally that deeply desires for our Earth, our planet, to become sacred. The 74,000, that's our big picture. We're creating a future that doesn't exist on the Earth yet. It's never happened. It was from the beginning that when Earth was created, they started to see this human species starting to evolve, and we saw that the potential of humanity was to become enlightened. That's the potential, but it's never happened. And in enlightenment journeys, you've heard of many, many people throughout history have become enlightened. Pieces of the planet have had individuals who are enlightened. Some of them Jesus, Buddha, all of those people you've heard about. But along with Buddha, there were other people at the time, individuals who were enlightened, but they were quietly enlightened. They weren't on the news. So we're looking for people as well in this movement through Ekam and the Golden Age movement who you're not looking for like success. You're looking for a real genuine evolution of the goal to help the whole of the Earth and the human species.
But it's a gift, because I remember you sharing that it's a gift, because I'm sorry I interrupted, but you were saying that some people felt like they didn't want to join in because they felt like they weren't spiritual enough or whatever. It's just, it could be anybody, literally, long you're committed and you're passionate on that cause. Because because some people have ideas that have to be a certain way. Even me, now that I realize, I do want this. I do want the solution, and I do want to be part of that. It's nice to think the future generation had the possibility to be helping the planet to reach enlightenment, and you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. It's really, to me, the nice thing. Even though I do benefit, one of the benefits for us to do it is to be able to. It's not that you're not going to have suffering, right? Because in the real world, there's valleys and hills, but it's with certain tools, awareness, and energy shift, the suffering don't last. There's a certain insight where we can work it through very quickly. So I love that. That to me is a positive as a person. But also I like the idea that I'm going to be part of the 74,000. That's going to be what Angela mentioned, the bigger picture. Yeah. Which is about the planet. And that gives me motivation to, and honestly, every day, if you're that type of person who pray or do meditation, why not do this? Just include this. For me, it's once a week, every Thursday, a different program for each side. I could commit to that 1 hour a day, and then a little meditation observation during the day. And I have dreams at night, my head at night when I sleep, when you sleep, it's dark. It's been very bright. So I'm experiencing the energetic shift of what And explain the compassionate light and the golden orb. How would you explain that?
So the compassionate light is a brilliant white light. That's the source of all life. So if any of you are older, you may have heard of Wayne Dyer talking about the source, or you might see those holy pictures and there's a beautiful white light behind those divine beings in the sky. It's basically the white light that's in all consciousness. The golden light is the golden light of wisdom that comes with specific teachings for any particular individual at any particular moment of that individual's evolution, or a planet's evolution, or a plant's evolution. The golden light comes with the divine intelligence and wisdom to help at that particular moment for that particular highest evolution of the individual. So the golden light is a very creative, multidimensional light. But the white light is basically where everything comes from, the great compassionate light. It's what people see when they die and cross over, and they go and people have near-death experience and they talk about this beautiful white light. That's the great compassionate light, and it's the source of our universe. So if you look at the Big Bang, people talk about this light. What is that? That was the great compassionate light exploding or expanding, and it's still expanding, actually. The actual explosion of the Big Bang was a compacted moment, but that moment is still continuing. That's a great compassionate light. So we talk about it now all through science, through all these different mystical experiences.
You know, in Ekam, they might use words like universal intelligence. Like, it's depending on your belief system. It's for everybody. It could be from an atheist to somebody who's very religious.
Yeah.
They talk about the compassion light, and there are certain energies that here at this time that's helping and aiding us. But I use my angel. I've always liked the angel even before Ekam. And if anything, it helped me be more connected with my angel. And it actually helped my intuition even more. So I think if you're feeling the nudge and it feels right, just email either to Yolanda, which is through the Golden Age. Just ask your intuition, which one is for me. You can ask both sides. I'm going to give you an email to connect with Savitri, but you're going to use my email and Yolanda. And she has also a recommendation for people in Australia. But if you're watching the video, there's a reason. If you're feeling a pull, there's a reason. So see where you're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But I would say that last night I was sharing with Angela, I had a dream. It was really interesting. I woke up at 4:35 and I kept hearing, it's funny because Angela mentioned when we connected about the 11th hour. I didn't get that message with the 11th hour, but it was about the 11th hour. It was telling me about AI, artificial intelligence versus intuition. And I think it has to do with my personal life, how I need to be more connected versus hiding behind AI, but also watching what's going on in the world. But the message was stop diddly-daddling. And it wasn't like a doom gloom thing. It was just a warning, because with warning you come with solution. With warning, there are possibilities of sometimes you just need a nudge, but sometimes a little harder. And it was giving me a pinch. It's like, and I said, oh my God, what can I do? And they said, a little thing every day, something different makes such a big difference, because there's 7 billion people. So every person that's doing a little something, it's a ripple effect. It's like the entanglement. But I got the message of not only to take the 74,000 more seriously, but also to maybe talk about the idea of artificial intelligence. It's wonderful because it connects people from all over the world. It makes man-made certain things that human couldn't do. It makes that certain profession. It's there. It's supposed to be there. But we do all the technology. Look what we could do. We could talk to the president of Ukraine because of technology. But when not utilized right, then we could see the damage of it. And I kept getting it because of the children. Like the children they got to see during the pandemic, as much as they like technology, it was their first time to see what it would be like without any human connection. They were itching. They were like, oh my God, I want to go to school. I just want to do some activity. So they got to see, because like somebody like Angela and I, we come from a time of old school, new school. We know it's like from both worlds, but those kids didn't. And it even demonstrated to me about how we need to have both, how important it is. I mean, it seemed obvious, but being really, I mean, that's a very unique thing where you have globally people staying indoors. So that's a really unique thing. What do you think the pandemic was trying to tell us in regard, you could put in context of 74,000?
That it's time for humanity to stop being so selfish. It's not just us on the planet. And go to your room. Basically, it was a big go to your room and think about that.
Yeah.
You know, when your parents were like, you're being a little selfish. And I've had it with you. Go to your room.
It did bring a lot of changes,
looking
a lot of different things.
at ourselves as the most important thing in this world. And me. Okay, you want to be most important thing, go to your room and be the most important thing in your life. People couldn't handle it. The majority went nuts. So
right.
They had to
learn. You really had to look within.
What was that?
They really had a lot of time. They couldn't do too much distraction.
Yeah. And they couldn't handle themselves. So people would use relationships to distract themselves from what's inside. So some people used it to really go inside and did great with it. But now when we're coming out of the pandemic, we're all a bit lost. Like, I just found out that this universe inside of me, where do I go with it? And if you have any inkling to help humanity with the 74,000, then go with it, because collectivity is the most important thing at this stage. Stop thinking about individual welfare. We have to come together as a collective for the better good. We're seeing war right now where people are saying, I'm going to die for the collective good. Well, the 74,000 is the balance to that. We're going to come together in peace for the collective good. And we have to find those people that have any inkling. You don't need any qualifications. You can just have a sense of, yeah, that sounds like I really could benefit from that. If in the pandemic you went inside and you discovered this part of yourself that was universal and incredible, and it needs further community to foster that. The 74,000 is a global community. It's, of course, transmitted from India and Ekam, the temple. However, and Suchalok, which is another sacred place in the countryside of the state of Chennai, the state of Madras, Chennai. And it's a sacred place that transmits the central energy that goes to many, many countries. I know that when I started, Oneness University connected to 90 countries, but I think it's actually more now. So we've got people in Russia, we've got people in Ukraine, I don't know where they are. We've got people all over the world connected to this temple and energy sources in India and the teachers to help bring a network globally that focuses on the collectivity of our species, not the individual, and help create this new world. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be the revelations of, 5 minutes, people are all over the world happy. But the enlightenment experience, when you are enlightenment, can happen in as quick as 3 minutes. That's what is starting to happen with some individuals all over the planet. And the focus of the 74,000 is that when we have this group working together, which will happen when needed in the future, once we've got everybody to a certain level of enlightenment, we're going to start focusing.
It's like a power generator.
Mm-hmm. It's a generator of energy of humans focused on helping humanity together. And
all walk of life, whether you have spiritual, no spiritual or not. It just need the passion for it.
Just need the passion.
Yeah.
Children, we've got 9-year-olds that are enlightened in India. We've got dying people that are enlightened. They're on their deathbeds getting enlightened. And those people, if they do die, they actually can help from the other side as well. We've got reports of people seeing them in India that they've passed on, and they're helping us. And I personally know I've had actually a connection to someone from the New York community who's passed on. So they're helping us from the other side. I feel
nice. You have to tell me who it was.
I'm not going to share because I don't want people to make up stories. Yeah. But I've had that experience, and it's helped me, because with death as well, it's quite sad to lose people. But in the 74,000 people, they're starting to have this awareness that people are not dying. They lose this body, but they actually are still in existence. And that world after this life is also very important. We're starting to have people understand there is a relationship between the physical life that you have and the afterlife, because so many of us, we're not thinking about that. We're just in terror of death, and we get frozen. But if you join the 74,000, you'll actually start to see, not be taught, because you see it in here, in your inner third eye, in your inner heart. You actually see, oh, I understand what this evolution is about.
We get glimpses of enlightenment experiences. So it's talk, but not too much. It's more experience, because that's the way to understand it. To most people, like, oh, I'm enlightened, I'm in enlightenment, and because it's just really just started the program, maybe some people may get it right away. But I realized they said, no, you have enlightenment experience. There'll be a time you got to work at it. Because it's not a goal, it's a designation. Because it's like infinite amount of spiritual growth that we could go into. But it helps to realize, okay, these are the things I'm experiencing, enlightenment experience, and life still goes on. And how the enlightenment will show up, I don't know. When it does show up, I'm thrilled, because the enlightenment experience that I get here and there is amazing.
Yeah,
especially I was with Angela after going to one of the courses. When I go to sleep at night, when you close your eyes and it's just dark, I could get a lot of brightness. So that's from the golden orb that we were speaking of. I don't know, could it go into the third eye? I get a lot of buzzing on my third eye. But it's one thing to feel it, to know, oh, I'm being taken care of by this. But I'm actually seeing it while my eyes are closed. So it's like, think of the mirror, like if you're in the living room and it's dark and there's a sunlight coming through, kind of like that, it's a fade. So I like that. It's like I'm actually experiencing versus hearing concept about it. Because sometimes, honestly, I don't want to hear more information. I want to experience it. When you experience it, it's like when you fall in love, you really don't know until you're in it, until you experience. Like, I've had glimpse of being in love, but I haven't experienced being in love. But the glimpse of it, it's nice. It's really great. So that's how I see enlightenment experience. It's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Can you imagine when? But I'm happy just experiencing this. And I feel like the more people that join and stay committed, I could feel like it's getting stronger. Don't you feel like it's getting more lovely and more
the community?
Yeah,
it's resonating
as almost a year that we've been doing 74,000. It's just each month it's growing.
Yeah,
and
in the golden age.
What's your enlightenment experience been like so far?
It's hard to isolate events, because it's kind of like an increasing sense of that white light you just described coming into your brain. I've had experiences, like thousands, that are hard to isolate. But I've had that experience during a 3-day workshop, and my whole head became a white light. And I have a funny joke, because I've had dreams where I've walked around and there's no head. It's called like a headless chicken dream. But this was my whole head just became the white light. It was really incredible. And that gave me an experience of realizing that this body is just a sack. It's a good body and it's great, and I have great experiences with it. I love going swimming and connecting to animals. It's amazing. I love this body. But when I saw that it was actually just one aspect of being, the physical body, and I experienced that my whole head was that light. I actually understood that consciousness is multi-dimensional in a way that we're so not able to experience in the physical world. And then that's just one experience. I can give you more.
I mean, that's great.
Connecting back to what you shared earlier about that being in suffering and then it goes quickly. I've had that a lot the last 6 months since I started the specific Golden Age 74,000 movement program. It's called the Yanya, 74,000 Diksha Yanya. I could be in a suffering state, like somebody said something to me and I got upset. And I could be in that state of, oh, why did they say that? Blah, 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 blah. I'm upset. And then it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's like it can take a day or it can take an hour. And sometimes it can take 6 hours. I've timed it now. The last couple of days I had an experience. And then it's gone. I'm not even having that feeling anymore. That's been the most miraculous, like to have, my personality is quite strong, and then to have parts of my personality literally not existing anymore. I don't have those things anymore. There's no carryover, they call it. You don't keep thinking about the hurt. So that's been the biggest thing. And Silvia, you've had that too with your
the stubbornness, like, again, you know, this idea, oh, I'm in Enlightenment program, everything is, no, life still goes on, but I'm getting experiences. And again, it goes with, I would not have understood, Angela, about the light, but now I can. That's why, you know, they can say, oh, you experience light in your body. It's like concept. When you actually experience it, I can understand her because it's been happening the past week. And I'm like, yeah, that is cool. But I would not really understood it. So that's why they make you experience it. And even with what I thought enlightenment was, or like, I don't know, maybe, I mean, I kind of knew and I didn't, but you're still your own person. You still have your personality. As of now, I don't know how it is, but as of today, I find one of the homework for it's Yanyan for golden, and for Ekam it's called Jivan Mukhtar, which is liberation. Same thing, just different path style, you know. And what was I talking about right before that?
You were saying that there was one thing you experienced with the Jiva Mukta path. It's gone.
You know,
this is what I mean, right? Once we're in the light, just talking about it, our brains disappeared.
You don't hold on. Like, I tend to hold on to things. Doesn't mean I don't still, but like, you get a different understanding. Like, look, for example, somebody pissed me off, and I'm like, But even if I'm working at it, I'm like, well, I don't have to work at it. It just naturally happens. Like before, I would have to work at it. Okay, you know, like awakening course. All right, you see yourself this. Okay, how do you want to be? No, now it's a happening. It's like I'm pissed off. Like the other day, my mother had company, and she known this woman 50 years. I consider her like my aunt, and I was kind of not nice that day. I was in a mood. And so the next day, I even made sure we were at the store together. I was in the mood, and I made sure when I came home to go downstairs because it's not fair for them to give them my mood for the rest of the night. So the next morning, I go upstairs to have breakfast with them. She's like, oh, you were interesting, you know? And I said, I'm sorry. You know? I said, look, sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes I'm nice, and sometimes I'm nice, and I'm not. I said, I try to be more nice than not. But one of the homework stuff, I was trying to remember what it was. In the Jeevan Mukta sadhana, they call it practice, is watch what you're going through, you know, your daily life, and notice the reaction. And because everything karma just cause and effect. So because I have that sadhana, I was like, do I want to cause more karma? Do I want to cause more cause and effect? I mean, it seems logical, but because we're doing that, I noticed the next day I made sure to say, I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't want to say I'm sorry, but I said, I'm doing my best, yesterday, blah, blah, blah. And we were fine. We moved on. But it's not like I really had to try. It's a happening, which is kind of cool with the enlightenment. The enlightenment experience. It's more because of the energy or something. It's letting go that strong personality that Angela mentioned before.
Without having to let go. It just happens. It just goes. And it doesn't mean your personality disappears. You're still going to have that aspect of yourself, but it just flows and the thinking is not interfering with it.
Right. Yeah. So I would say that in itself, it's amazing to do this personally, even though it's about us getting to the space for the bigger picture. You do get the benefit of becoming this more person of flow. And when I'm person of flow, I'm better not only for myself. When I'm happy, I'm better for everybody else. So that's the benefit from doing this personally. But can you imagine 74,000 of that? And then once that pops, it's, millions, and then, everything else, to experience, life going on, and we have the emotion, but it doesn't hold on. And we're all different, but I would imagine that's one of the benefits that most people would get.
I wanted to finish with just focusing on the goal of having a group of 74,000, the purpose of it is one of the problems we have in our world today, if not the biggest problem, is that we're trying to solve our problems with the mind that's created the problem, right? Einstein, everybody's heard it. You can't solve the problem with the same brain or mind that created the problem. And we're still doing it. And then we sit at home watching the news, whining and complaining, which is the same mind. It's the complaining mind. And then we don't know how to create the new brain that will solve the problem. The 74,000 is focused on that new brain. As a species, the reason we can't create the solution is that we haven't come together as a collective to focus on this new brain that does not see the problem in the same way, but sees the solution. And that new brain is just what you were talking about, Silvia. You don't hold on to the problem. You actually vibrate in a completely different manner. And Sri Bhagavan talked about it like termites. Termites as an individual can't create their termite mound, which are huge architectural complex structures. When termites come together, they create these mounds that individually they can't do. They can only do it as a collective species. And humanity, we've never come together as a collective to focus on that group brain in the manner that we need to solve the current problems that we have. The 74,000 is that new group brain, meaning we're not going around thinking, like Davos, how are we going to create the new climate solution problems? We're helping as a collective, 74,000, to enhance the brain structure of all of the individuals so that if every climate crisis comes, we can meet, and then that collective will enhance the individual brain structures of that 74,000, and they will literally start to download the solutions. They'll start to get the ideas from that collective new species, collective brain, not from the individual brain. I do this through my coaching work. We have a group brainstorm. And when you do a group brainstorm, all these new ideas come that would not have come unless that specific group was together. This is of the same level, but at such higher magnitude, where the brain function is of a different nature that we've never had on the planet before. And so we're creating in 74,000 that new collective group brain that allows higher intelligence to come in. So we'll have 74,000 different versions of Einstein. They won't be Einsteins. They'll be, one will download whatever that's what we need for that specific crisis event. Or for the children, a child will download whatever they need for that generation. So a 9-year-old will start to download whatever is needed to help that generation.
You can have a plumber who does enlightenment. You can have a teacher who does enlightenment. Now it could be that Buddha. It's the active. That's the thing with this work. It's being active. I mean, maybe there'll be some under a tree. They don't want that. They want regular enlightenment people in all walk of life. So that's great.
Yeah.
You know, like you said. So, and honestly, we won't know until we're in it. But that's what, you know, that's the example of how you don't have to be a certain way in order to do this. You can be yourself, but you have to be committed and passionate for the goal of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up anything except maybe, what were you saying, that stubbornness? But that would just happen naturally as you do this work. So that's great. So
Yeah.
how would they contact you? Like, I'm gonna give out the email. What's your email?
You can contact me under the video comments, and I'll hook you up with Yolanda Singh in New York if you're in America. And her email is goldenageli.com, Yolanda at goldenageli.com for the East Coast people. And we've also got Deborah Apsara if you're in towards the West Coast. She'll be on your time zone. If you want to, I can connect you to Deborah in the US. And then in Australia, if you're watching, I've got 4 facilitators here, Janet, Valerie, David, and Alexa. They're all on
We'll
the
put it
East
in the
Coast.
description, right? You got to put it in the description after.
It'll be easier to contact me, and then I'll hook you up with whoever in Australia is closer to you, because it's easier if the facilitator's in your time zone, because we start to do the events in different time zones.
And I'll do that same. I'm going to give you my email, Silvia Leva, SILVIALEVA, the number 02@gmail.com. And I will connect you to your next step to the other person as well. So also we'll put maybe also the link of the Golden Movement and then the link of Ekam just to get the vibe of it. But you can also contact both. But I would say go by your intuition. You know, that would be the biggest thing to just
You'll
go
feel
with.
it.
Yeah. So I had fun. That's great, Angela.
Thanks, Silvia, for making this happen today. Thanks, everyone.